So, good afternoon,
Good
Charles.
afternoon, Roxane.
Chuck, thank you so much for being in Montreal in this beginning of November and addressing us on emotional intelligence, which is one of the intelligences that some different models explain. I would like to take this opportunity and this time that you're here with us, and thank you again, to talk about what was your journey to get interested into emotional intelligence in the first place.
Thank you. So I guess to start the journey, and I'll talk to the camera so we all can hear, it was really just an interest in people and knowing what people believed, what people cared about, what matters to people. I was always really interested in knowing what was important to other individuals. And it didn't matter who they were. It was somebody I just met or somebody that was supposedly important to me. It didn't matter. It didn't matter if you were rich or poor or you were different religion, different race, and none of that mattered. What mattered was, who are you really? And I was always really intrigued by that. So as I became interested in growing and learning and trying to find a career for myself and decide what I wanted to be when I grew up, one of the things that I considered was trying to find some way to help other people. I grew up in the 60s. It was an important time for people to care about one another. I've always been someone that cared about other people and about what happens to everyone really at some level, but mostly to people I knew and mostly people that were friends of mine or in my community somehow. But I also wanted to reach out to the world because I thought there's a lot of hardship, there's a lot of sadness, a lot of disappointment. I was in the field of mental health for a number of years trying to help people, sell people on themselves really, trying to help people to really learn how to take care of themselves emotionally, to be healthy emotionally. And I did a number of jobs. I was an elementary school counselor, the first one for the state of Iowa, many years ago. I worked at Harvard Business School with executives trying to understand how organization behavior. Also had a role in helping people stay mentally healthy in organizational life. And then I worked in big companies, and now for the last 20-some years have been in business for myself and got a chance to experiment with the people who were pioneers in the field of emotional intelligence. And that was a real opportunity for me because there was nothing really new in psychology for many years. And this idea that we can be smarter about how we deal with emotions, that was important not just for me, although I'm passionate about it because I needed that help myself.
We can see that you're passionate for the field.
But I also felt it was so important to so many people. And you heard me say this in the presentation earlier. If we want world peace, I think one of the things that we really have to understand is how do we generate inner peace? And this idea of an emotion roadmap that I created and have worked with for the last 20 years or so has been something that has inspired others. I found really been helpful to people who have learned how to use it. And I have a radio show that ultimately is trying to reach as many people as possible. Because even if people don't listen to the show, there's podcasts now and they're on iTunes or Stitcher or SoundCloud or the Public Radio Exchange, where some of the things where I've had conversations with others, anyone can choose to listen to it anytime. So hopefully the idea of an emotion roadmap is the legacy I leave behind. It's the journey I've been on since I'm a little kid, wondering about what do people care about and why. And if they're having trouble dealing with life, is there some way I can help?
Wonderful, wonderful. It looks like you found a way to really spread out the words about emotional intelligence, and it's important. Let me ask you a second question. You were mentioning something very interesting this morning to somebody that asked you the question, how could they raise their empathy level, or how can they demonstrate that they care for others? And you gave a very interesting piece of advice I would like to share with with our participants here in this video.
So for all of those of you who are dealing with people that you're struggling with the fact that it's not authentic for them to be empathetic to others, to care for others, one of the ways you have to connect with them, I found at least, that works for me, and it has worked for people I've coached, is to help them understand if they want to achieve more, if they really care about getting something done and more than they've been able to achieve on their own in the present way that they operate, if I can show them how being more emotionally intelligent and being empathically concerned about others, it isn't just enough to have empathy. It's to care about what you know about what others are feeling and to act on it. When people have a manager, a leader, or a boss who they feel really supports them and has their back, then they're going to perform at a higher level. And if all of us as leaders, no matter what we start off believing, understand that when people feel cared about and supported and loyal, they're going to give you the best they have. And the best they have is going to get you more than what you're getting right now if you're not paying attention in this way and you're not empathetic and concerned about others. You're probably not getting everything you could from the people that work with you. So it isn't about being nice as much as it is about being smart. And so for those of you that are working with people that aren't necessarily concerned about others, if you can convince them about how important being concerned about others is to their productivity, to their profitability, if that's what motivates them, then that's what you talk to them about, and then you get the change you're looking for.
Thank you so much.